and welcome to another edition of In Session with Thomas and Tara Suber. Join us each week as we discuss topics concerning our faith, our family, and our community. And now, Thomas and Tara are in session.
Hey guys, we're back and we're enjoying ourselves and having a great time on this Friday evening. It's finally Friday, Tara. It's finally Friday.
Finally Friday, darling. Friday the 9th?
Friday, November the 9th.
Second Friday in a month already. How many weeks till Christmas?
Oh, look at you counting. It's beginning to look a lot like
1,
Christmas.
2, 3.
Da-da-da-da.
So Christmas is the 1, 2, 3, fourth Sunday in December.
Fourth Sunday.
Fourth
Tuesday.
Fourth Tuesday.
Yes.
Okay. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm looking at the calendar.
And just like I said last week, this year has gone by so quick.
Oh, yeah.
It has gone by so quick. And we're in the season or this time of year leading up to Thanksgiving. We're just, I guess, a little shy of 2 weeks. Well, about 2 weeks away.
Yeah, about 2 weeks. Today, 2 weeks.
2 weeks away because Thanksgiving is always on that Thursday. So, and Tara and I was talking, and, you know, I try to be all formal and try to keep things just so. And she was like, Thomas, we don't have to wait until the show before Thanksgiving or the Friday before or during Thanksgiving just to talk about the things that we're thankful for.
Absolutely. Because just to be honest, I was saying something to someone just the other day, and I was like, I have so many things to be thankful for. This year has been one of those years that if I just stayed in my carnal mind, I'd be like, just throw it out the window. Just throw 2018 away. Our families have gone through so much tragedy, so much loss. The community itself has gone through so many things that's impacted us in so many different ways. So, but yet we're still here. We're surviving, and we're living.
Yes.
We're prospering. So come on and give God thanks. I'm ready.
You're making it sound like we in church. Come on, give God thanks.
Hey, somebody. Can I get a witness?
Hold your mule, Tara. Hold your mule.
You gotta say at that point I didn't do the butterfly at least.
No, you didn't do you didn't do the butterfly. And you know, even like I say a lot of times, you know, you may not be living in the house that you want, but you're living. You have shelter over your head. You may not be driving in the car, that dream car that you always wanted, but either way you're riding and you're getting around. You may not have the clothes, the designer clothes that you would desire, but nonetheless, you have clothes on your back.
That's right.
When you open up your refrigerator, there's food there, and all of our kids, everybody, God has given them life, health, and strength. So it's just like you said earlier, it's so much to be thankful for. And when you look at your situation, I remember someone said this to me years ago, that you know, what you have or what you're going through is not really that bad.
That's true.
When you look at someone else, because just like the saying is or says, is that there's always someone that's worse off than you.
That's true.
So I've just learned to be content, and when I say content, not content as far as being stagnated or just staying in one place, but being content and being satisfied for what it is that I have. Because again, I'm just thankful for what I have.
You know, a lot of people compare or rate themselves according to what other people have. Some people do that. They compare. I guess they call it keeping up with the Joneses.
The Joneses.
That's a cliche, keeping up with the Joneses. But I learned a long time ago, I guess when you're young, you begin to fantasize about how your life would be and dream about the things that you want to have and the things that you want to accomplish. Everybody's gone through a primary school where they've had career day, right, and they say, you know, what do you want to be when you grow up? And you start very young dreaming about the things you want to have, dreaming about who you want to be, what you want to become, how you want to impact the world. So from when we were kids, we were taught that,
Right.
and as we grow up, we continue to those dreams evolve into, I don't just want to be a fireman. I want to maybe create some type of um, drywall that's fire retardant to, your dreams evolve. They evolve, Thomas.
Yes.
You
Yes.
understand what I'm saying?
That's,
Our dreams
I see what you're
evolve. Like
saying.
I went from saying, "Oh, I just want to be married with kids," to when I really came to my senses, I don't just want to be married with children. I want to be happy. I want to be able to give back to the world. I want to be able to impact the world in a positive way
Right.
through my relationship with my family. And I believe that some of those things I have accomplished. But we have to stop comparing where we are according to what we see others do. I can recall my pastor say it many times, and I've heard many ministers and pastors or inspirational speakers say this. You don't know what that person had to go through to have what they have. So I don't
Yes.
wish for nothing that Mr. Jones and Mrs. Jones have.
That's right.
I'm satisfied and I'm happy with having what God has set aside for me to have.
And Tara, just to add to what you said, and what you said was so true and so profound. You don't know what it is that that person
Mm-mm.
had to go through to get, and then you don't know what it is that they have to do to maintain
To maintain it.
what it is that they have. You
Right.
see one thing on the outside, and you just don't know what goes on the inside, or what
Mhm.
goes on behind the scenes. So, in that sense, just like I said earlier, we just have to learn to be content in what it is that we have. And you know what? I'm just going to get some things started with some things that come to mind, Tara. This year, all the time, I always use this time of year,
Mhm.
number one, to reflect on the year
Yeah.
and reflect on everything that has happened, the good, the bad, the highs, the lows, the victories, and I don't want to say defeats, but
There have
the
been some.
yes,
There have been some failures.
there have been
Mhm.
some failures, but some things we're still working on
Mhm.
individually, and I'm sure those of you that's listening know exactly what I'm talking about. But I always use this time just to reflect, and just reflect on the year, what has been done, what hasn't been done, and then I still just go in a mood of, from here on out, of just being thankful for some reason. And this is just me. This is Thomas just talking. From here through Thanksgiving, and even through the Christmas
Oh
season,
yeah.
going into the New
Definitely.
Year. And honestly, I'm saying every day is a day of Thanksgiving. But I always
Every day
remember that song.
is a day
You remember
of
that song?
thanks. Do I sound like I remember that song? Go ahead, baby.
I'm about to
Play the organ.
I'm
Get on
about
the
to give
organ.
you your note.
Oh, give my note.
but no, seriously,
Jesus.
seriously, I always use this time to reflect and just to be thankful
Mhm.
again, for where I am, for what I have become, and where God is getting ready to take me, getting ready to take us, our family, our church, just everything. Just use this time to just to reflect and be thankful. And I'm sure a lot of you do too. Some people, when you talk to some, I remember in years gone by, one thing about this time of year, you will always find either one. Of course, some people love this time of year, but then others is kind of a bittersweet time
Grim.
of
Yeah, it's
year
a grim time for
at the
them.
same
Mm-hmm.
time. They may have lost a loved one,
Yes.
just like
Mhm.
you stated earlier, or the memory of a loved one
Yeah.
that they're used to doing certain things during this time,
Yeah.
of years, certain memories, certain things just kind of spark
Really
that.
trigger that.
You know,
Yeah.
for some it sparks a nostalgia. For others, it's
It's a very
like I
grim
said
time.
earlier, it's bittersweet. But nonetheless, still, we should be thankful for where we are, and be thankful for this time.
In everything, give him thanks.
Yes.
In the good times
In the bad
and in the
times.
bad times, in
Yes.
everything, we got to give him thanks. And when you were talking earlier, and you were naming the different stages you may have gone through during the year, when I said failure, you kind of hesitated, like, yeah, but you know what I look at? I look at failures very different now,
Mm-hmm.
because we're not gonna always succeed the first time when we try something out the gate, and our failures. I don't look at them in a negative way. Our failures help us build strategies on how to move forward.
Okay.
Because if you failed at something one time, that doesn't mean to give up. You
Right.
just gotta go back to the drawing board, scratch that piece of paper up, and then write down those things that worked during that time of planning, and then reevaluate those things that weren't so good, that kind of led to the downfall. So failure builds strength for a
It
lot of
does.
people. You got to flip it. You got to flip it and not always look at failure as a bad thing.
And you know what I did, Tara? This is what I was actually doing, because when I was talking about that, you notice I kind of hesitated
You did.
when I said failure. And the reason why I didn't, sometimes I imagine myself as whatever I'm gearing up for. I kind of imagine myself, if you will, and those that's listening, kind of go with me, if you will, like kind of being in a fight or a boxing match.
Okay.
And is one thing about fighting, one thing about being in a boxing match, you always hear the terminology. I might be knocked down, but I'm not knocked out.
Yeah.
And so there have been times I have imagined myself in whatever it is that I was fighting, or whatever it is, that goal, or whatever it is, that thing I was trying to reach. Sometimes I imagine myself being knocked down, but not being knocked out, because
Yeah.
once you get knocked down, you can get back up, and you can get back up fighting.
Oh yeah.
And I almost have what is called like the Rocky mentality. Which, speaking of Rocky, there's a new movie coming out.
Creed.
Yeah, I can't wait till.
Tell you.
Oh
Boy, I
man,
can't wait.
we got to talk about it. Yeah, I'm excited about that. But no, one thing about Rocky, and I'm using this as an analogy, and to all my '80s babies that's listening, you know what I'm talking. Just when it looked like the odds was stacked up against Rocky, I mean, when it looked like he couldn't come out, when it looked like he was going to lose, for some reason he grabbed onto some kind of inspiration or strength, no matter what it was, and he always came out on top. He might have got knocked down, but he was never just knocked out. And you couldn't count him out because he was knocked down, but he got back up. And not only did he get back up, but he got back up swinging, and he got back up winning. And that's what I always imagine myself doing. Okay, yeah, I may have gotten knocked out on this particular battle, but the battle ain't over. I'm gonna get back up. And look, I don't need no amen quantity.
Okay, I just feeling you, babe. Okay, let me come out.
I might have been knocked out in that situation, but I'm getting back up swinging, and somehow, some way, I'm gonna win.
How many times, and I'm sure our listening audience can relate to this. How many times has somebody counted you out?
Oh wow!
They see, you know, what you're trying to do, and they see that you're not quite there yet, and it may have taken you years, and you're probably still working on. And then you always have those naysayers. You know, you got to be real careful about your inner circle. Some people in a circle a little bit too big for me, so you don't really see, Tara and Thomas out a whole lot. Our inner circle is really tight. And it's not because we don't love people. We love everybody.
Right.
And every now and again you'll see us here, there, everywhere, and you will see us even more. But when we're dealing with things that God has given us, we keep our inner circle really tight.
Right.
And the reason we do that is because not everybody is for you.
That's true.
And that's unfortunate, but it's so true. You cannot share. Sometimes you can't share what God gives you or inspires you to do with anybody, because simply everybody's just not for you. But when you have a group of people that's praying for you and pushing for you, we tend to share our intimate things with our tight group of friends, and they pray for us and they push us forward, and vice versa.
Yes.
But everybody is not always going to be looking for you to succeed. You got a certain group of people that just kind of sits back and wait for you to fail and then count you out. But let me tell you something. You can't, what, babe, why are you looking at me like that? You smiling?
I'm not allowed to smile.
Oh, you are, but you threw me off. But I love you. Anyway, you got to be very careful of who you keep in your circle, because everybody's not for you, and who you share those things that are given to you for you to accomplish. You can't share with everybody.
That's true. Dad always used to teach me, especially when you got some things you're working on. Just to add to what you just said, Tara, and it's so true. You can't share with everybody. Sometimes you got to keep it quiet. Sometimes you got to give God a chance to work. And
Work, yeah.
you gotta give things a chance to work itself out. Because some of us we talk too much, and when being that
You
we've
never
talked,
shut up. I said you talk. Who you sing that song? Was it
give me a
LL?
second.
Was it LL?
If it wasn't if it
Oh
wasn't Run DMC,
no, Run DMC. LL
no, no,
was
no,
LL was
was it
you a
Run?
liar. That's a lie. That was LL. You talk. Come on, somebody.
Somebody, y'all.
Google machine. Google machine. Go ahead,
No,
baby.
don't do that, babe. Let them hit us on Facebook and let us know who used to sing that song.
All
I'm
right.
sure somebody will. Anyway, what I was saying is you have to allow God and allow chance to happen, because some of us talk too much that when something doesn't work out the way we planned it, then we just look kind of, we look we look like a fool because it didn't go,
Wow.
the way we anticipated going. So
Wow.
some things you
Mhm.
got to kind of keep in your heart and keep in your pocket. Don't say nothing and just let time reveal. That's one of my favorite sayings. In time, it will reveal. That one little verse out of that El DeBarge song or DeBarge. In time, it will reveal. All you got to do is just let time do it. Time
Well,
is going to reveal it,
well,
whatever it
we
is.
got some song references today, boy. You can tell we music lovers. I love all kind of music. I love music.
All right, you're getting a little
Okay,
crazy.
I'm getting carried away. But
Okay.
taking it back to being thankful, um, family,
Oh yeah. Without a doubt.
family means a lot to me. Anyone who knows Tara Suber knows my family means the world to me. Um, love, very thankful, very grateful, and very rare because I have friends that have lost parents, moms, dads.
Yes, and we've talked about that.
I have my mom.
Yes, you do.
I have my dad.
You have your mom times 100.
Yeah, my mom is fire, y'all.
She's extra.
Mommy. And my dad, the coolest guy,
Oh yeah.
most humble fella. I'm telling you, my dad is the most generous soul you'll ever meet. I have all my brothers. I got four brothers.
You
I'm
sure
the
do.
oldest of four, of
Yes.
five, and I'm the girl, the one and only,
Mm-hmm.
with four little brothers. Hey, little brothers, um, nieces, nephews,
Mm-hmm.
uncles, aunts, and we're very close knit. Holidays we get
Children and
together.
one grand too. Don't forget
And
that.
my grandson, of course, I haven't forgotten my grandson. I had a special place for him, but and he's 5, and he's so handsome and smart. But my family means to the world to me. Um, I still have my one grandmom,
Yes. Yes, you
the
do.
matriarch of my
Yes,
family.
you do.
She will be 87. I think Granny will be 87 this year, or is Granny gonna be 88? I gotta
The
do the
Right
math.
Reverend Henrietta
Right,
Cummins.
Reverend Henrietta J. Cummings.
Yes.
And then my husband, you know, he has my family is massive, and I'm talking about
Yes.
my biological family is massive. My dad is 11 of them. It was 12 of my mom's side, so Thomas is 11 of me. The grands, the great grands, the great great grands, they're outnumbering each other. So I literally have somewhere near the 71st cousin. So
Wow.
you can roll up on me the wrong way if you want. You don't know who they are.
Ain't that the truth? Ain't
But
that
I'm
the
very
truth?
grateful and very thankful that God has blessed us so much. And I always reflect on my family during this time of year.
And we've talked about that um, before, Tara, and I've told you, and there's even some people I've even uttered this to as well. I said to myself, and I feel the same way you do. My mother's still alive.
That's right.
My father's still
Mm-hmm.
alive. I have one sister, one brother-in-law. One brother-in-law on my side, of course, because I have 4 brother-in-laws on your side.
Mm-hmm.
But I always said to myself, and I even said this about 2 weeks ago when I taught in Bible study. I said to myself, I said, Lord, I consider myself to be blessed and not wishing death or anything. Just like you, I've had friends who either A, never knew their mother and father,
Mm-hmm.
B, lost them, well, 1 or 2 or both at an early age,
Yeah,
3,
you're right.
lost them as a teenager, lost them in the early part of their 20s. Here it is, I'm 44 and still have both of my parents.
That's a blessing.
That's a blessing. These days, that's a blessing. And right now, even in our church right now, we're going to be ministering to a lady who just lost her mother.
Yeah.
And she told me in a text, she said before she could not say she knew what that felt like. And she said now she knows what it feels like, and it
Wow.
doesn't feel good. So I said all that to say is that, for my life, like that Smoky
Lord,
Norfolk
I
song. For my
thank
life,
you.
Lord, I thank you.
Yes.
Because a lot of people just can't say that. A lot of people just can't say that. So I'm thankful. If God doesn't do anything else, and I'm not going to preach. If He don't do anything else, He's already done enough, and I'm just thankful. I'm just thankful. I have both my parents, one sister. God has blessed Tara and I together with 6 children,
Six.
one grandchild,
One sweet boy.
and a host of family and friends.
Lord, y'all, our family's so big. We have Thanksgiving, and our extended family is so large. We have Friends Thanksgiving.
Yes, we do.
We do, and no joke.
Yes, we
After
do.
Thanksgiving, have a group of friends that get together, and we have
Yeah.
Friends Thanksgiving
Yes.
because there's so many extended loves that God
Yes.
is giving us.
Yes.
I mean, people who are not our blood, but if you cut us, I swear we related.
That's true.
I swear we're related.
That's true.
Good.
You saying we good?
Yeah, babe. Were you looking at the time?
Well, I'm
We
just look.
good?
I'm just making sure.
I'm the timekeeper today, and I'm thankful that I'm the
That you're the
timekeeper
time-
because Thomas, I'm gonna turn the time away from him.
No.
But yeah, family is very important to us.
Tara, don't do that.
I got it, baby. Go ahead.
All right. Remember, I gotta go back to work. See, we gonna keep it real with y'all.
I got you.
we gonna keep it real with y'all. That's the one thing y'all gonna get is the realness from Thomas and Tara. So again, we're just using this time. We're just using this time
Mhm.
to sit back, reflect, and just be mindful and be thankful for what it is and for what we have. And I've even thought about this, Tara. A lot of times, even when we sit down to eat, we some people rush through their grace,
Mhm.
but the one thing I think about is that person or persons or that entity or whoever that is that may not have
May not have it. You're
whatever it is that I'm getting ready to eat, how big or small it is.
right. Mhm.
They don't even have that to eat. And I'm just mindful. Even the scripture tells us if you're just mindful of those that's less fortunate, just to be mindful of them.
I have an idea what people can do when you're listening to today's show. Make sure you comment in the comment section if you know of any events that's going on in the city, whether it's in our town or across the world where you're listening. If you know of an event that's going on that's going to cater to those who are less fortunate than us,
Yes.
put the link down. Drop a link. Drop me a message, and I'll drop it in the show or on our page to let people know where they can go who are to receive, whether it's meal kits, clothes. If you guys are doing something special, I know a lot of groups get together and sometimes they just go to certain areas where they're homeless or just the less fortunate and they just
Yeah.
drop goods. If
Mhm.
you're organizing stuff like that, let us know
Yeah.
so we can drop a link and we can let our listeners and our followers be aware of those things that's going on in our town, in your town.
Yes. Yes. And the Thanksgiving season going into the Christmas season for
Oh yeah.
those, children, those that have children.
Mm-hmm.
We got some families that kind of like adopt a family and try to do something nice for that.
Mhm.
Just like Tara said, just let us know
Let us know.
because you know what, ultimately, and for those of you that know us and have known us for years, we always try to be a blessing.
That's right.
Always try to be a blessing with what it is that we have, just to be a blessing to someone.
And that's so important that you consider that. If you haven't done it, make it a part of what your family does during this time of year. I know I was speaking to a sister the other day, and a couple of churches in our local area, they do a meal on Thanksgiving.
Right.
They physically leave their homes and they serve other people. And at the end of the day, it's really not about how much we can have,
Right.
but it is about how much we can give to
Yes.
improve the lives of others. So find yourself an organization, find yourself a group of people who are giving back. Connect yourself. Let's start teaching our children about those things that we should be thankful about, and to consider others who may not have what you have during this time of year. That's a good way to spin it out.
That's a great way. I've enjoyed it.
I have to, babe. Thank you so much for sitting down with me today and tolerate me. Oh, I'm so thankful for you, babe. Look, Tara Suber is not the easiest person in the world. I'm very well-rounded, multifaceted individual. I was wonderfully, 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 wonderfully made by the Lord.
Oh,
And
Jesus.
the mold was broken and crushed and crumbled. So I thank you for dealing with me.
And on that note, I'm going back to work.
That's my timer. Thanks, guys, for joining us today. We'll see you next time on In Session. Thank you for joining us for this edition of In Session with Thomas and Tara. Don't forget to log on to our page, Supersonic U, and set it up so that you can receive notifications and be in the know. In the meantime, like and share this video and be a blessing to someone else. We'll see you again next week for In Session with Thomas and Tara.